Welcome to the Friday Power Lunch, a weekly show amplifying the voices of the Virginia grassroots. Each week, we provide engaging conversations about politics, culture, and women making change. Produced by the unstoppable women of Network Nova, our motto is, when we vote, we win. The Friday Power Lunch is recorded before a live Zoom audience. Follow us on social media, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and show us some love and become a sponsor through Patreon. The Friday Power Lunch. Badass women getting things done.
So welcome. It is July 7th. I'm Catherine White, your host, bringing you the guests, the issues, the action. We fuel the grassroots community to get things done, and you know us, to make politics fun. So we're glad you're here. So we are packing a punch. I'm so excited. We have Senator Lucas in the car, but she's okay. She's going to be driving to Manassas, but she has her gloves on in the car, I can assure you. And we just have a great theme today. Packing a punch for democracy, gloves on, fired up, and ready to go. And I think it would be just super great to give everybody a chance to say hello and see what their best shot is today. So I love to bring up and welcome a woman with a long history of getting fired up and ready to go. ANDREA MILLER, just one role she plays right now on today's show. She is president of the National Women's Political Caucus of Virginia. We want to say hello and tell me, what are you going to hit with your best shot today, ANDREA?
Well, our best shot is we had a fabulous primary with some fantabulous contestants. So yes, go Senator Lucas and all of our endorsed candidates. We are ready to take back the Virginia House and add more seats in the Virginia Senate.
Woo! I love it. Love it. Love it. I can't wait to unpack this all with you later. So keep those gloves on, my friend. And I'm just so excited to hear about the organization as well. Next up, if she put her screen on, we have Senator Lucas in the new 18. Let's just say hello, and then we will talk to you in a little bit. Can you say hello to everybody?
Absolutely. Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. And if you think I was fired up during the primary, let me tell you something. I am really fired up now, ready to go and hit them with my very best shot on November the 7th. We are going to win this election on November the 7th because we can't lose with the stuff we use, and they can't win with the shape they're in. So we're going to knock out those mega Republicans, and we are going to hold the Senate, and we're going to take back the House of Delegates. I want every woman, every Democrat in Virginia to join us on this mission because we can do it. We can stop mega Republicans and we can save democracy. So I'm in here for the fight.
All right, she's in it. She's in it. That's it. Big crowd. Yes, awesome. All right, we are so excited. You get yourself in the car and safety buckled in, and we'll talk to you in a little bit. Next up, Equality Loud, and talk about hitting us with their best shot today. We have the president with us, CRIS CANDICE, the president, and we also have LEIGH GUARINELLO, inclusion director. Hello, and tell me what you're going to be hitting with our best shot today.
Well, hello, everybody. We are so excited to be here. Hard to follow Senator Lucas, but we want to talk about the Supreme Court, the 303 creative decision, and how it is going to affect women and marginalized groups everywhere, because this has got to stop.
I love it. You are ready and you are fired up. And Leigh, inclusion director, what are some thoughts today before we get started?
We need to be as loud as they are. We need to bring together our community. We need to make our strong LGBTQ plus community and allies as visible as possible these days.
Yes. Oh, so agreed. I'm so excited to really talk more to you. I've been writing this morning just what the Youngkin administration has done, what SCOTUS has done. So we're going to talk about what we're going to do, because that's where the fight is and how we're going to work together. So thank you for taking the time to be here. I know a lot is going on, and always with our work, we talk about the joy of the work. We have to make sure that we do self-care, that we are also bringing the fun, the everything. And I'm going to introduce a woman right now, Cordelia Gaffar, ultimate joy goddess, a coach, a leadership coach, just doing so much around finding that kind of inner joy. what are you thinking and how are you going to hit us today with your best shot?
Embodying that joy to fight the societal toxic norms. And so today I'll be sharing some things where we can do that.
I love it. I love it. I got goosebumps, by the way. And I'm so excited. If anybody has their ticket to the Women's Summit, we do have Cordelia is going to be here at the Women's Summit and have a whole workshop on finding that joy. We also have Equality Loudoun that will be doing a workshop, and Manisha is here doing a workshop, and Andrea Miller. Isn't that funny how it's all, life is interconnected? And Senator Lucas will be there. So how about that? All right. Last but not least, dear friend Manisha Singh, chair of CD11, and more. It's just one role you play of many, Manisha. And we're so excited to have you on today. And tell us, Manisha, about what you're going to do, hitting us today with your best shot.
Hey, hitting us with some fun here. Hey, I'm Manisha Singh's chair of CD11 Democratic Committee and Front Central. You know how Catherine is so serious about balancing our work with our fun. So we are going to talk about how we are going to make this happen and put the cherry on the top for our Women's Summit this year. So I'm so excited to do this.
Yes,
thank you, guys.
Great, Manisha. Thank you. Well, what a lineup. We really packed it in today because, we're in July and we know we got to start early. We got to making sure everybody is working together. In fact, I just got an email from the PA Turn It Blue gals up there who are ready to roll with us. And we have groups looking at Virginia. So we do have to get organized. But for today, the rules of the road, just to set up everybody in the room. If you're new and this is your first time with us, welcome, welcome, welcome. We have Michelle McKinney up there. If you have any questions, she is our liaison with newcomers. Please just ping Michelle McKinney. She'll give you a wave and she can answer any of your questions, but welcome to the room. And also, we want you to use the chat. We want you to communicate. We also want you to be civil. If you kind of cross the line with that, we have no problem just booting you out. And the big boss up there, Stare, is good at that. She likes that little button. Boom, kind of thing. After chat, 1 o'clock. How much fun it is. Stick around for the after chat. That's where it all happens. We unmute, take turns talking, and we share all kind of stuff going around across the state and outside the state. So make sure you spend some time with us in the after chat. And lastly, I don't know where my cup is. It's in the other room, but support the show. Become a Patreon. You'll see people in the room with the special backgrounds. That means they support our show. This is how we run every week. Needing the Zoom and other things we do. So become a patron. How much fun would that be to join our community? So, that's a really packing a punch there. And I'm going to bring up one person who always is packing a punch, LUISA Boyarski. She is the leader of the Grassroots Coalition in Northern Virginia and Loudoun, she reminded me today. So let's get to it. What are we talking about today?
So there's a lot to cover. I know I haven't been here for about a month, everyone. So what I wanted to do was, one, remind everyone, the beginning of July is when legislation goes into effect. So there are a lot of bills that were passed during the session this year that went into effect on the 1st. And I just wanted to highlight a couple to remind us that we are still getting shit done at the legislative level, even though it has been difficult, right? So HB 2038 was Delegate Shin's bill, which expands healthcare coverage to state employees with adult children with disabilities who do not share a residence. This was a gap that hadn't been filled, and we have new legislation that just went into effect to address it. HB 1895 was Delegate Fillercorn's bill that ensures that victims who experience sexual harassment can speak up about their experience, even if they've signed a non-disclosure agreement or other forms of NDAs with their employer. Really, really important for women to be able to talk about and to be able to get, action taken when they are experiencing harassment at their organizations. There's also a series of bipartisan bills that increase the minimum staffing requirements to ensure quality of care of individuals in nursing homes. And the last one I'm going to highlight is HB 2025, which was patroned by Delegate Danica Rome, which requires that schools proactively send home applications for free and reduced price lunch programs to parents at the start of each school year as well as information on how to apply for SNAP benefits. So, we are moving forward, taking care of business, even if it's small steps. So I wanted to highlight that. I will say the place that we're not taking care of business is on the budget. So I'm not sure if you've been paying attention, but there have been meetings on the budget, and the Senate Budget Committee has tried to negotiate the permanent tax cuts that the governor wants to put in place, but they really got very little traction. They went back and forth with the House committee, and they basically, the Senate committee agreed to the amount of tax cuts Republicans wanted in the House and that the governor wanted, but they would not agree to making those permanent tax cuts. If you saw the email from Senator Deeds, he mentioned that in Kansas, when Governor Brownback basically tried to institute these types of tax cuts a number of years ago, it really became problematic. It led to a huge budget crisis, and then they had to reinstate the taxes that were cut only a couple years later. So they said, look, people have tried this, it doesn't work. If you want to do tax cuts, let's make it a one-off as opposed to a permanent situation. So they are going to come back to the table again, possibly sometime the next week, to continue to have this conversation. If people are working on this and there are ways for us to weigh in, please feel free to share that in the chat. But I think it's important that everyone knows that that's where we are in the budget. And the reason the budget hasn't been approved is because Republicans are digging in their heels and not realizing how important it is that we have approved budgets for our schools, for, all the other work that we're trying to accomplish, in the state. So now I want to move on to the elections of 2023. This is the time, if you haven't already, to determine which of these campaigns and candidates are you planning to support. So I'm going to share in the chat some of the candidates and campaigns that we are looking at as part of the coalition, with the goal of holding the Senate blue and turning the House blue. We want to make sure that we have all the right people in place to stop additional legislation that Republicans are trying to push through that are not good for Virginians, but also to put them in place so that we are in a really good spot for when we are hopefully going to take over the governor's seat in a couple of years. So please, if you haven't thought about the campaigns already, now is a great time. The primaries are over. You know who's going to be running on the Democratic ticket, but this is also a critical time to get some funding to these campaigns. There were lots of primaries this year, which of course means that many candidates did need to spend money and had been spending money during the spring. The good news is that means their name is out there, right? And there's some really good communications that have already happened. But it also means that their coffers are a little slim, and we want to make sure that they have funding early enough to hire the staff they need to build their capacity so they are ready to go in August when we have early voting starting. So now is that time to really think about fundraising and supporting those campaigns. If you want to talk more about the 2023 elections, we're having a coalition meeting for the Virginia Grassroots Coalition this Sunday at 6 p.m. And I will put the link in the chat for your RSVPs. If you would like to join us, we'll be digging deeper on those candidates. And then, of course, I would love to have you join me and other grassroots activists at the Women's Summit at the Grassroots Rise Up to Win on Friday, July 21st at 7:30 p.m. During that time, we're going to have a chance to reconnect with each other, discuss the candidates that we're adopting, what we're going to do to support their campaigns, learn about some of the legislative priorities we're going to have coming up in 2024, and of course, reconnect and have fun. So please come and join us that evening of Friday. And then lastly, I'm going to put a quick call to action on the Mountain Valley Pipeline in the chat, because this is an ongoing issue and we want to make sure that all the information is out in the public, which requires us to have a hearing. So the call to action is to contact your senators to demand a hearing on the MVP. So that was a lot. Over to you, Catherine.
Well, stay with me because I want to talk to you about a few things. I want to go back to the Youngkin Brown, the Kansas thing, Brownback. And I remember when he was running, he was trying to hire the same people that ran, that gentleman that did that in Kansas. We didn't talk enough about it. And now they're still doing this tax cuts will be devastating to our budget. So I think we should definitely hold the line on there. I just wanted to bring that up. just for why this election is so important. Maybe Senator Lucas could talk more too, but let's talk about the Women's Summit. For anybody new in the room, this is our 7th year being together, where a group of 7 or 8 women met, and we got this idea to do a Women's Summit, sort of like Seneca Falls. And the irony is that same weekend, July 21st through the 23rd, that we're doing at the Hilton in Tysons, is the same weekend of the celebration of the centennial in Seneca Falls. But we will have all that energy in Virginia. So I want to make sure everybody knows that's July 21st is the Grassroots and Coalition Rise Up. And then Saturday and Sunday, we have a full day workshops, there are 35 workshops, 3 stages of speakers. And then Sunday, of course, the Badass Brunch. And we have music. We're going to have so much fun. It's going to be incredible. But what I wanted to say is Saturday night, the Candidate Power Jam. Do you want to talk about the power packs? I want to just set people up in the room. We have a few minutes to say, what are these power packs and why are they important? And they're signaling maybe how we work together in the future too.
Definitely. So as we all know, all of the Senate seats and all of the House seats are up for re-election this year. That is, a lot of campaigns to be worried about. So what we decided within the Grassroots Coalition is that the best way for us to really use our resources, whether it's time or money or, anything else effectively, is to do it where we are looking at where these seats overlap. So we have worked together with Dennis and others who've been pulling data to say, okay, which are the Senate and House seats that are most important for us to be focused on this year, and where do they overlap and integrate? We have 8 power packs, and I can share that information with you in the chat that we encourage you to consider adopting. So rather than just adopting a Senate seat here and a House seat here, instead adopt the Senate seat and the 3 House seats that it overlaps with. What we're also going to do is, by doing that, it allows those races to start coordinating their canvassing. We've had a number of coordinated fundraisers that have been really successful, and it doesn't burn out our grassroots activists, right? Rather than having to keep track of all these different campaigns, if we can have campaigns working together, including the local level races, we're going to have a much better chance of being successful in the fall. I think as we approach those teams and say, look, how are you coordinating? What can we do together? It also leads to the opportunity for them to start making connections so that in the fall, maybe they'll have joint lit, where instead of us having to hand out a piece of literature for every single candidate we've done before, I've also seen really successful ones where you have the whole slate of Democrats on one piece of paper, where folks can then understand this is the blue wave we want to have in this area. Please vote for everyone.
Anybody canvassing in here that had to carry lit of 6 people, and then you're like, I'm just going to get this one right now. Yeah, I agree. And I think what's really important about the strength of the grassroots is that we started this a while back, and Dennis and the team has put together this awesome. So if you could put that link in, we'll be sharing this and sharing it more at the summit. So if you're in the grassroots, you're a Democrat that likes to do this kind of work, join us at the summit. Friday night especially, we're going to be strategizing, talking about it, having our old-fashioned great meeting, go to the lounge, have some fun. But on Saturday, those candidates are going to be there. You need to meet them. Saturday night, if you're a candidate in the room, give a little show me by just putting your finger up and the reaction and pop up to the top. If you're a candidate, get your ticket, get your campaign staff to this event. We have resources, we have breakouts, we have people, especially for school board. We also have, Tim Kaine will be coming, but also Ann Holton and Atif Kwarni, who's all about Secretary of Education. They were former Secretary of Education, will be there. And we have such great resources. Lastly, we also have a food truck by Jose Andres. Who doesn't want that in the afternoon for a little treat? So yay. All right. Thank you. Awesome. I'm so excited because we are all about getting our gloves on and working. So I want to introduce somebody that has really been doing this an amazing work for so long, especially around electing women to office. I'm so pleased to have here the president of the National Women's Political Caucus of Virginia. We have so much to talk about. Let's just go straight out with real quick about the organization, our mission, and what we did this year, what we're doing to elect more women.
Well, our mission is very, very simple. Our mission is to empower and elect women to office and get women appointed to various commissions, agencies, whatever those appointments are. We are all about women power. And we had one fantastic primary season. We had 15 of our endorsed candidates had primaries. 11 of those 15 candidates won. And a number of the candidates, the boys were saying, oh, no, they'll never win. Well, guess what? We did.
We did. I know, it's very exciting. And I think, this year, since your leadership, we've really, because you are old, you're just grassroots. You are, you understand how to get out the vote. And what I think you brought a level into the organization is really contacting voters. And sometimes endorsements come with money. Sometimes they come with, you get to put some endorsement out. Maybe somebody will come speak for you. But I think this level of what you brought to it, talk about what you did for La Charisse, what you did for Russa Perry and some others. And I think that to me is just so strategic and really interesting.
Well, our number 1 and 2 races were Senator Louise Lucas, because our phone bank team is based in Hampton Roads, they're in Virginia Beach. And then, of course, we had Senate District 13, La Charisse aired. So for those 2 races, we did postcards. We made 29,000 phone calls between just those 2 races. We sent text messages, and we canvassed and we developed in Petersburg that joint literature that Louise was talking about, where we had La Charisse and Kimberly Pope Adams. And we said, these are our endorsed candidates. This is what these candidates stand for. So we reminded people, this is who you're voting for, and this is why you're voting for them. And a big thing about us, we've learned this a long time ago, we early vote our people. So in a number of races, early voting, at the end of early voting, that was basically the campaign. It was one and done. Wow. We texted for a lot of our organizations or our candidates. Right. And for the general, we are ready to launch postcarding. Actually, postcarding is already launched. Now, remember, I've got an old C3 over on the other side, and they're a lot bigger. So they are launching postcards on July 28th, and I just sent them 200,000 addresses.
Yeah, and I think, we talk about how now we, the grassroots working together, and this ability to do the postcarding, and that you have such targeted great addresses and how to work together. And I want to, before we move on, I want to make sure people know that how to join, and then also what you'll be doing in August, if you want to just give yourself a minute to say what great stuff you'll be doing in August for the national that I know National Women Political Caucus is hosting an event in Richmond.
Oh, and thank you for that. I just dropped in the link. Mm-hmm. There will be the biennial convention August 10th through 13th in Richmond. And what is really, really cool is NWPCVA. We are one of the newest state chapters founded in basically 2020. Right. So for us to be the new kids on the block and to snare the convention was a major, major coup. Yeah. So the candidates will be there, and we will be doing candidate training as well, making sure that people are ready to run for office. And ready to win. So
Yeah.
I'm going to drop a bunch of links in.
Great.
This is how you can postcard, phone bank, all those different things, and we are ready to go. Here's my prediction. The Virginia Senate, 25 seats. I'm
25.
seeing it. Can we feel it? 25 seats.
Okay.
The Virginia House, 55, baby.
55 and 25. I like it. 25, 55. Let's just say we're making that prediction here. You got your gloves on, you're fired up, ready to go. And anybody join this wonderful membership organization, and we are building. And I tell you what, candidates do need this kind of support, and they need mentorship, and this is the place to do it. And Virginia is leading the way with you in charge. We'll see you at the summit. You'll also be there with and I'm great to see everybody together. So thank you, Andrea, for all you do, getting women elected. All right, now
thank you, Network Nova.
Yay! I want to make sure the senator can turn her camera on, and let's do some clapping. Robin, we got some of our clapping. Is the senator available? She may be riding around her car, but she could be. Let's make sure. Can we spotlight her? All right, Senator Lucas. Let's see. Anything? Hit me with your best shot.
I've asked her to come on. Maybe
Okay.
here she.
I have unmuted, but I'm
ready to go.
I've unmuted, but I still can't turn my camera on yet because I got somebody working on my hair, and I'm getting ready to jump in the car.
What? Your hair? You're still working on your hair? I love it. Well, why don't you hold on, and we'll go right to the next segment. You get yourself ready, get your hair done. That we got to do priorities in this room, Senator Lucas. So you hold tight. We're going to go right over to Equality Loudoun with CRIS Candice Tuck, President of Equality Loudoun, and also LEIGH GUARINELLO, Inclusion Director, Equality Loudoun. So much to talk about. I have to say, if I can just say that a year ago, that when we saw the overturning of Roe, there were warnings for certain groups that said, especially after Clarence Thomas, the MAGA justice, said, we're not done, and we're coming for the rest of your rights. Now, a year later, on the last day of Pride, we saw some really what it looked like what it's looking like when they really meant what they said. So let's start with you, CRIS, about these impacts, what you've been seeing this last year, but especially with this latest ruling.
Well, I think it's pretty clear to folks who have been following this that this is the culmination of a multi-decade long plan to pack the court with folks who are going to completely disregard precedent, completely disregard the foundational principles of this country and its constitution to push an agenda. And what we've seen from the Supreme Court is that religion is above all else, that religious belief with no qualifiers, with no substantive understanding or guiding principles can be used to discriminate. And so we've seen this with Roe, we've seen this with 303, we've seen this with the Groff decision, is that really, if somebody says, I have a religious belief that does not allow me to serve someone, I think Justice Sotomayor said it best. She's like, you have essentially licensed discrimination in service, a thing that has never happened before. And they call it freedom of speech. Well, your freedom of speech gives you the right to have the government not compel you to speech.
You get everything in the car, right?
Oh, sorry, that's okay. Just keep, if you
no worries.
This is Senator doing her hair. If we can make sure we have that muted, Robin, thank you. Go ahead, CRIS. I'm really, just keeping that light, because I agree. I was listening to, I think it's America United, talk about the same thing you were just saying, how we see this religious extremism, billions of dark money, and codifying the power and privilege into laws that are really stripping us of rights that really are that are landmark cases, that precedent years and years, and this is what is happening. So and I know this is so concerning. So give us the idea too. So those impacts now, what you've been seeing in Equality Loudoun, and what are these impacts that are happening in the communities?
Well, the problem really is that there's not enough guidance out there. And the 303 kind of codifies exactly what we've all been afraid of in the LGBTQ community, which is that there's not enough certainty, there is not enough direction, and there is not enough detail. And that was really called out. What this does, and what we see the impacts happening, is we have a local elementary school coach who does not want to call trans kids by their pronouns, by their preferred name. And he's filed suit. Last year during the 80-40 debates, we do not have the clarity coming from the courts, nor coming from our elected officials, that says this is the law, this is where the line is. So does your religious belief give you the ability to harm a child? If you think that not using pronouns or not using a child's name is a violation of your religious belief, but we know from teachers and educators, we know from doctors and physicians and psychologists that this is harmful to children. So what does the law say? What does our Constitution say about things like basic respect and dignity for each other? And it's not just trans or queer kids. We have to recognize that this ruling effectively allows an exception to a protected class, because Bostock v. Clayton County really established that being gay and being trans is a protected class in the United States, that it is based on the protection of sex. And so if we can violate against folks for that, can we violate against them for race? Can we discriminate on religion? Can we discriminate based on national origin? How long until we go back to the 60s and we see signs in our store windows that say, hey, no LGBTQ allowed?
Yes. Yeah.
Or segregated schools. I mean, this is really what the local community is working on, is finding ways to allow and institutionalize discrimination. And how long until that spreads to businesses, to restaurants, to schools? This is what we've been fighting against for 60 years. And now they're moving us back. And this is largely flown under the radar because everyone thinks this is only about LGBTQ issues. It's truly not.
No, I'm so glad you pointed that out, because I think that everybody said, thinks, oh, well, that's not me, right? I shouldn't have to worry. But it actually is the start of it. And we know this even from history, that you start at the most marginalized and then you sort of creep your way in. And Lee, I want to make sure that you get some words in here about, in being an inclusion director, we see across the states people getting rid of their inclusion directors, getting rid of their diversity. So, and on your, how do you want to come in on this conversation from your perspective?
Yeah, and apologies, my neighbor's lawn is being done, so I'm sorry if there's lots of buzzing in the back. I'm trying to mute and unmute.
It's okay, go ahead. It's all right.
As the inclusion director at Equality Loudoun, one of the things that our board and our teams have spearheaded is this formalizing of allies. And we talked about with the 303, I know I saw someone talk about every place you go into, you should be asking, who would you serve? Would you not serve me? And actually prompting for that. And what we're trying to do is create an actual listing. So we have had, and long before the ruling, obviously, we have a program called the Equality Allies Program. This unique to Loudoun County at the moment, although I'm sure lots of folks are doing it elsewhere. This is our program is for Loudoun. But essentially, we have an application form. If you just Google EQ Loco Allies, you'll find it. I'll drop it into the chat. But we have a program where you can, whether you're a place of worship, a medical, mental health, nonprofit, for-profit, whatever kind of organization you are, we have unique questions about that type of organization and their acceptance, openness, welcomeness to the LGBTQ+ community. And so we have these applicants fill this out and we vet it specifically. We look at their social media history, we look at their organizational website, their board makeup, things like that, to make sure that they're being honest about being allies. So it's not a list where people say, oh, put me on your list because I'm friendly and I want the business of your community. They have to illustrate that they actually are a welcoming space. And so we have, for example, if you need a salon and you want to make sure that it's a welcoming salon, you can go to our business allies. There's at least 2 salons on there. We're early in getting this set up, but we already have 2 on there. And you can go and look at their answers.
the reverse of the green book, but like where you're allowed to go. This is where you're safe.
Yeah, and we post all their responses and we let them update it. If they make policy changes, they ask for training. So we're really building a community of safe space in Loudoun that we hope everyone would feel welcome to participate in.
Yeah, and I want to weigh in. I heard from a friend out in Loudoun that said, and you probably know this case, a mom had to leave their state of Tennessee because they're actually in some states taking names of anybody on that's transgender, maybe that needs kind of a certain kind of care, coming now like almost the Underground Railroad into states like ours, looking for other places to live. Chris, what are you seeing in Virginia? Are there people contacting you looking for these safe places to live?
Absolutely. We get emails like that all the time. Folks who are looking for somewhere where they're not going to be persecuted, somewhere they don't have to feel unsafe, or frankly, if you're in the state of Texas, literally hunted. The reality is, we tell people, unfortunately, Virginia is on the line. And so when we say packing a punch, this is what we're talking about. Yes. We have folks who want to be here. They want to be part of the Virginia community. They want to help make Virginia a place that is moving us forward, not backwards. But it all comes down to the fall. It comes down to maintaining that firewall of LGBTQ allies in the Senate. It comes to expanding that because we have the Values Act and we do not want to lose that. It protects our community. And so I tell people, they say, I'm fleeing Tennessee, I'm fleeing Florida, I'm fleeing Mississippi. Is Virginia safe? And I say, not yet.
Yes.
Wait until November. And it should not, you should never have to, as an advocate, say, my home is not safe, my state is not safe.
I would like to talk real quick, and then we need to and I hope you can stay for the after chat. I see a lot of allies in here, a lot of people here with children right now that need this kind of care and to feel safe in school. So it's kind of hypocrisy to me when I see Governor Youngkin talking about the safety of caring for children and parents' rights. It's like bullshit. All right. So I want to talk about, he quietly removed care on the administration's website, actually, where you can get medical care or help. He took that off for LGBTQ students. And what do you say to that? Lee, I'll let you have the word on that since you do inclusion.
I'll actually pitch it to Chris because Chris Candice has been working on this for so long.
Go ahead, Chris. Let's give it, punch it.
It is emblematic of what he stands for. The fact that medical care is something that is controversial is absolutely ludicrous. Yes. When we have doctors in every national organization saying this is safe, effective care, and the governor wants to turn that away, he's essentially sending the message to these young kids, you don't matter. We don't care if you live or die, and you are not welcome in this state. So you know what? If he's not going to do it, we're going to do it.
We're going to do it. Let's join them. And Equality Loudoun, and in this state right now and in this room, I do believe that, this is the start of all the unwinding. We look at this where people be able to travel to a different state or marry who you want. This is use contraception. We know the right to privacy and what Alito and Clarence Thomas said when they said this was not the end, this is just the beginning. But to make sure we stay fired up and in the fight, we have the ability in the agency to change this. And we should all speak up and stand up and make sure and join you. So make sure you put in the chat how we can do that. I also believe another remedy is to really go after the separation of church and state. We have to demand this. We really stay in that. This is what we see, a rollback that is super dangerous, that religion could be used to be bigoted and discriminate. And I think we need to call out that this is white nationalism. And this is, this kind of religious extremism that we were worried about. So it's here. So let's get our gloves on. Let's fight. Thank you for being here, Chris and Lee. We really appreciate your time. Stay with us if one of you can. I know that we really want to talk about this in the after chat. So with that said, I hope that Senator Lucas's hair is done. And if not, we are going to go. There she is. Hello.
Yes. Yeah. Hello. Hold on a second. I'm trying to get my mic on.
We can hear you.
And I'm driving.
You're good.
So
it's okay. You're driving. Uh-oh. Okay.
Yes,
we can hear you. So don't look. You look at the road. We can hear you. Just go ahead. Power punch it. Let's go.
Okay, well, I tell you, just listening to you all as I was getting finished here, I'm just so excited about all of the things that you're going to be doing. And I am eternally grateful for all of the help that I've gotten from you all, because all of those phone calls, all of those postcards, everything you did mattered. It took the entire team to make this work. And as you all indicated earlier, a lot of us were counted out. They didn't think we could win, including myself, because they looked at just the optics of the district and thought that I would not be able to win it. But I'm just telling you, we're on top. Women are winning, and we are going to make a difference. I'm just so excited. I can just barely contain myself.
Yeah, we're going to need that fire, because like you hear, like what we see now with these rights rolling back, you've had a long history, right? Just like Pat Benatar, just going to fire away. And what do you say to us right now in Virginia and to Governor Youngkin? Like, what are we coming at him with?
Well, he better buckle up, because it's going to be a long ass ride. That's what I got to say about it, because we're going to be punching back every chance we get, and we're going to do it together, because the team is what makes the dream work, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to deliver, just as was said earlier in this program. We are going to hold the line on the Senate, and I agree with Andrea. I'm thinking that we're going to have anywhere between 23 and 25 seats in the Senate, and I'm fairly comfortable that we're going to take back the majority in the House of Delegates, and then we're going to return back all of these regressive bills and measures that the Republicans have tried to inflict upon those of us here in Virginia.
Yeah, no, it's no doubt. And we could, I think what like you said, working together is really important. And I think what we need to do, because I think our governor is going to run for president, and make sure that he's held accountable for this harm that he is actually doing, and even to our budget and to our environment. And we see it, and it seems like, we need to get loud and proud. And I'm so glad you're here to get loud and proud with us. So how about, in one sense, we'll do a round of applause. And what's your main takeaway that you want this room to hear?
The main takeaway that I want this room to hear is that women are powerful, women are making a difference, and we're going to beat back all of the policies that the mega Republicans are trying to inflict upon us. It's only through the work of women that we're going to make the difference. And I'm just telling all women to get involved. Put on your gloves and let's hit them with our best shot.
Yeah, let's hit them with their best shot. All right, well, thank you. Thank you for being here, Senator Lucas, and you're definitely bringing it. And I agree. And we see right now, I know Senator, hopefully Senator Danica Rome is being surrounded by those, as I call them, the non-moms for liberty. And we got to make sure that we talk about that's also a movement we got to push back against, and make sure that women get involved.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's a problem there, because they're using this whole force of what women should be standing for, these moms for liberty. Or somebody called them assholes with casseroles, but I don't know if I could say that on my own show, but it was kind of funny. Anyways, so glad you're here and bringing the power into the room, and we are going to bring some joy up next. So be safe driving, and you'll be coming to Manassas, and I hope you'll see at the Women's Summit. We still got to get you a confirm for the badass brunch on Sunday. Are you coming?
I'm going to try my best. I'll give you a call and let you know for sure.
Okay. We'll hold you to that, I hope. Okay, thank you. Have a good day. Talk to you later. And oh my God, that's pretty exciting. It's right from the car. We get to hear Senator Lucas bringing it. So I think it's a nice time to shift to some joy, kind of take a breath. And Cordelia Gaffar, let's talk about you. You're known as the ultimate joy goddess. And I just love it. We had to use that today because I feel like we all want to be the ultimate joy goddess. Tell us how you got there.
Thank you.
Yeah, good to see you.
You know, it's appropriate that you call me the ultimate joy goddess, because as I'm listening, the first thing that came to me is a quote by Audre Lorde. If I didn't define myself, I would be crunched into other people's fantasies for me and eaten alive. And so that's why I'm the ultimate joy goddess, because of all the things that you've been talking about, right? There's so much that comes at us as women. There's so many things that we endure personally and then professionally, right? When we go to work. And then when we just try to, just live and raise our children, as Chris and Lee were talking just now, And so I choose to commit to creating a life of joy only by embodying that. And so it's funny when you said take a breath, because I was like, you know what? There's probably going to be a lot of energy going on. And so like maybe for my first part of what I talk about, I'm going to say, let's just take 10 breaths.
I think I could fit some in. No, I agree with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, talk about, and I think it's good for us in the sense of you can see the energy level. Someone like us that's just been doing this for 7 years, honest to God, every day, because I feel this immediate need to try to do what I can in my space to really stand up, for just a lot of reasons. And we see the suffering and the real harm now that we're getting to. And it's just, but we have to learn how to, like you say, face this work with also joy, or else it's really hard to continue. And so if there's anything around that, you can talk to people in the audience, maybe a little exercise we can do together. I think we're all ready.
Yeah, you're all riled up. So let's just do this. And so what I like to do with the breath work is to keep your eyes open, right? It's quite often that we're told to close our eyes, but this is about what you see in front of you and what's within you. You want to create a new reality. So sit up straight, keep your eyes at a soft.
Everybody in the audience, listen, this is you.
Everybody.
Not just me. I'm sitting up straight with my unbossed shirt on. Let's go.
And Senator, even though you're driving, obviously you're going to keep your eyes open. So just, but keep your eyes at a soft gaze and put your tongue behind your top teeth.
Okay.
And focus on the breath coming in and out of your nose. That'll be most easy, right? And once you are in the flow of that, start counting to 10. And I may get there later than you because I breathe a lot, but just begin counting and be aware of the gift of each breath you have, the gift of each heartbeat you have, and honor that, honor your purpose, honor your mission, and don't let it swallow you whole. And when you reach to 10, I want you then to imagine a golden pinpoint of light. Now, this pinpoint of light is like the sun. And I want you to imagine that going straight into your heart and in there growing to the size of your thumb top, right? It'll grow to like a little sun inside your heart. And the energy of this sun is giving you the wisdom of equality and the feeling in your body of evenness and equanimity. And that's what you want to radiate out into the world. And so you become the sun of evenness and equanimity.
That's powerful, because then I'm looking at the sun behind you. And I think it is hard, I mean, we're in the Zoom and all that, and it's a different space, but it is really good and powerful that when we take that time to really kind of settle, and it's hard for me sometimes because I get all energetic, but in that time, it really just sort of settles in. And I think it is really powerful, right? To make time for that. And so, and I just, before we switch, we will see you at the summit doing a workshop on this. I think this is where some people have been asking us for this kind of work and space. So just for today, in the sense of putting joy first, and tell us tell us about how you wanted to do that, what that looks like, not only just with breathing, but just one takeaway, or why that was so important to you, maybe how you shed this and were able to claim this. Like I have a girlfriend that says to me, I wake every day and I look in the mirror and I say, damn, you look good. She says, I do that because I feel sometimes so shitty about myself, but I want to say to myself when I look in the mirror. And then she says, damn, you look good. And then she always says, I make sure I do one fun thing every day. And I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah, for me, I got here because for many years, in the beginning, I worked in corporate America and I was a CFO for a small IT company. I was the only female executive on staff.
Yeah.
I was underpaid and overworked. And I chose to give that up to homeschool my children for several years. And then I saw like the way women really suffer with raising their children and educating their children. And, they left the school system to educate their children, right? Because of the things that you guys are talking about here. But you shouldn't have to do that, if you don't have the capacity to homeschool your kids, you should be able to, because we pay our taxes, put your kids in a public school, and not have to fight them for every little thing. And so in the name of my health, in the name of my wellness, in the name of raising my 6 children, I chose to, like Audre Lorde, just go within and work on my self-nurturing practices. And the number one thing for me that came up was, I can have joy.
Yeah.
No matter what. And this is the key phrase here. I can have joy. We're always told to make I am statements. The problem is that gap between the I can and the I am is so huge,
right?
That the true vibration of what we're living overwhelms us, and we never get to that I am. But if you allow yourself the presence with your breath and your heart beats to welcome the possibility in your mind that you can create something, then you will create it. And so that's the key. And that's really what I'll be going through in the workshop. I talk and that's what I mean when I say sweet talk, because a lot of people are like, sweet talk, what is that? So I started sweet talk by just listening to like love songs, right?
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to sweet talk with you at the summit, and I hope you'll stick around if you can in the after chat. And I love that you've ended on this positive note too, to segue into we're going to be talking about some beats that we'll be doing at the summit, and a really cool spot in the Saturday evening jam. So I know you're going to be excited to hear about that. So thank you for being with us today. It was really awesome to sort of get myself sort of, feeling sort of a little bit more grounded. I got my feet on the ground. So thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bringing the joy, ultimate joy goddess. And the last, I tell you, another goddess that I'll say that I love to have fun with and dance with. Manisha Singh is here. Woo, right? And
oh my God.
We feel that joy in those beats. I was thinking about heartbeats. I was thinking about, we were talking about the programming. I really felt like we needed to be as inclusive as we can. And I called on you because you are the most generous in that realm of trying to bring people together. Let's talk about what you're doing for the Democratic Party, and also joining us at the Saturday Power Jam that evening, bringing those beats, those rhythms of democracy.
Thank you very much, Catherine. I mean, this is an amazing lineup of speakers today. I know every Friday is great, but can we start every day with Goddess of Joy? We need to start our every day with Goddess of Joy. This is what we need in our life because we get so wrapped up in everything else. But yes, we are going to have joy with Cordelia, and then we are going to have fun with Manisha. So my gorgeous ladies, this is exciting for me. Of course, gorgeous ladies and the amazing men who understand that women get it done. So I'm so excited to organize the fun and fabulous piece of the Women's Summit. I really thank Catherine to trust me because we know how serious she is about her music and dance. Mm-hmm. So thank you. So we need to balance our work with fun and display our creativity, which is very important, get our message out, promote our diversity and our splendor. So at 9:15 p.m. on 22nd of July, we are going to have the Rhythm of Democracy. Keeping with the theme of the Women's Summit, we will have a diverse lineup of poets, we have the Afghan Dreamers, we have an Amber, who is an Indian American poet, and he is amazing. Most of his poetry is about women, women empowerment, immigrant women that sacrifice so much to make sure the next generation have it also. He's an amazing, really sentimental, emotional poet. So I'm excited he's going to join us. And of course, our own Dory Scott will be there. And the spoken words and poetries are going to be laced and accompanied by the beats from around the world, which we want to display because we are the party of inclusivity. I know the other side tried to make DEI sound like a bad thing, but we all know without DEI, we are nothing. We know that diversity has enriched us. Equity for all is a must. Inclusivity is a must for our lives to always be this beautiful and colorful. So we are going to try to bring that all in our beats. And then, of course, we have to get ready for Sunday. So we need to be nimble. We need to have fun. So we'll have the dance floor ready for you guys. We will have the DJ in place. He has an amazing lineup. And he was overdoing with all the voting and need to register. So I was like, throw some fun songs in there too, please. Let's just go crazy.
DJ Bunty. So
DJ Bunty.
So for the room too, we're the Democratic Party. I think what we really want to make sure too is feel the feeling of being loud and proud about who we are in our brand and caring about today, Equality Loudoun, our allies. That this is, it's hard when we saw the affirmative action thing came down. We saw the SCOTUS decision on the Creative 303 website. This is harm to people. This is harm. But I think what you start to see is that as soon that all the organizing that we're doing around it, where we're trying to figure out what we can do. And I know when you ran and you're chair of the CD11, you ran on DEI. We got to embrace that. And I think it's pushing back and making sure that we stand up for our values. And I think when we talk about in this room and our guest today and what we're doing in this election, we got to bring that same energy to it. And we got to because this is real. And it's really, right? It is. So
we absolutely do. And if you see the CD11 committee, it is so diverse and it is so amazing. We have people from all walks of life and I just love it. I think we have a great committee. But anyway, I am looking forward for them to all come to the Women's Summit and enjoy this piece with us. I'm so excited about this. So, hey, come join us. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I have to say that Hal Donahue made a TikTok today. Hal Donahue does TikTok and he does My Three Things, and he did a thing about Network Nova. And I said to him, next year we're thinking about we say the Women's Summit because it's organized by women, but it's open to everybody. But I think next year we may do a play on the name to make sure that it does sound inclusive. I think we need to say women, we may want to still keep that in there, but we want to make sure that we also in our name after our 7 years. And I see a lot of the women in this room that were part of the original 7. This is our 7th year, our 7-year itch, and we're itching to win it. And we're ready to do it. So Manisha, thank you so much, my friend. I got my dance.
Thank you. But remember, we already have men in women, right? We have it in the name anyway. So I don't think anybody should feel excluded of.
Well, it's just on the guest list. We got to make sure we do make sure that everybody feels welcome to come. So thank you, Manisha, for being here. It's that time again. It's 1 p.m. How could that happen? And next week, July 14th, we will have a kick butt show. I hope you will all come back next week. And then after that will be our big weekend of the summit. So I think we'll probably not be doing a show on that Friday because we will be at the hotel. But next week, July 14th, we will be here. I want to say thank you for everybody for being here. All our guests, so awesome. And we want to do that. I want to say thank you also to everybody that does the show. Fennell Norton's not here today, but Robin Warner, Stara Calhoun, Heidi Dragneff, Dennis Orsinger. Dennis, thank you so much for everything you're doing for the Women's Summit, all the graphics and all the power packing graphics are wonderful. Michelle McKinney, chat liaison. If you're new, reach out to Michelle. Laura Martinez is also in here today. Laura, thank you for everything you do. And our content concierges extraordinaires, Julie Galdo, Alvina McCall, and Sally Reynolds. We wouldn't be the same without you. You keep us square. And our summer interns, Allison and Claire, say hello. They have been with us for a couple weeks now, and I'm so glad that they're in the room. And also, we want to make sure you'll be here next week and join us to be a patron. Throw a little bit our way.